So it seems like you like scary movies, yeah? What's the scariest movie that you've ever seen? Oh, this is good choice. But what if I told you we can make something more scarier than this? Something that everybody is scared of. Let's talk about that. Now, before we begin to design this scariest person ever, we need to understand how fear really works. You see, there's a very evolutionary part of the brain called the amygdala. It's a part of the brain that lights the danger signal in our heads. Our great ancestors perhaps used this to protect themselves from the natural elements. And it's stuck around in the modern world, along with its neighbors, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, which actually form a very smart emotional response system. This is the reason why that when you see a lion inside a zoo, inside a cage, you do not feel very scared. But take that same lion and put it into wilderness with you. Things will be different. But here's the thing with fear. What is scary for me might not be scary for you. Or is it? What if I told you that I can make you experience fear by experiencing fear myself? The plan is very simple. All I'm going to do is electrocute myself. Now here's the thing. Every time that this light goes off, I'm going to get a mild electric shock. Start. It didn't shock me then. That was quite scary. But what was I scared of? In fact, what are we as humans innately scared of? Well, the answer to this could be quite wide-ranging. Some fear the dark, while some fear the light. Some people are scared of spiders, while some are scared of pandas. In recent times, there has been an increase in another kind of fear. Perhaps the movies are to be blamed for this one. But it doesn't really matter, because no matter how wide-ranging or how creepy your fears are, it all boils down to one thing. Death is a very weird concept. It's inevitable. Everybody is going to die someday. Yet it's the root cause of all the fears in the world. Why are you afraid of the dark? Because what if somebody is lurking in there? It could kill me. Why am I afraid of the height? What if I fall down? It could kill me. In fact, there's a great video by Vsauce, which I'm plagiarizing quite heavily on this, which talks about the various categories of fear that one can experience. So if we can take all of these elements and put it together into a single character, we might have the perfect horror monster. Okay, so let's brainstorm a character, something like a clown which lurks in the darkness and tortures people by capturing them and hanging them off building rooftops. That should be scary enough for everybody. It won't. See, the problem with cinema is that it's a visual medium. We know what's going to happen inside the movie is not going to happen outside of it. So there's a mental safety net, and our brain is smart enough to judge that. So is that it? Is that the end of our quest for figuring out the most horrific villain that can ever be in a horror film? Perhaps it is. But what about in real life? See, things in real life can be very, very different, can be very, very ominous. There is no safety net here. But that is not enough. To understand or to figure out the fear that spares nobody, we need to go back to where we started from. Now, early on in the video, I told you about the amygdala and its central role in the fear response system that we have. But what if we took away that amygdala? Will we be scared of anything at all? Turns out, perhaps not. A study was conducted on a certain patient SM046. She had exclusive and complete bilateral amygdala destruction since late childhood. And because of this, she never experienced fear in her adult life. In this study, researchers exposed SM to several activities like handling of snakes and spiders, or going through a haunted house, or even watching horror films like The Shining. But SM did not show any fear response. In fact, when the researchers were conducting this experiment on her, SM found it quite enjoyable. In fact, she got a thrill out of it. Quite bizarre, if you ask me. But as bizarre and as rare as a disease may be, she is not the only person with a non-functioning amygdala. So is that it? Is this the end of our quest for finding that one fear that scares everybody? Because here are people who are not scared at all. Is there anything that can just bypass this amygdala and create a fear response? Is there nothing that can do that? In 2013, SM and two other patients with the same rare disease were called by researchers to inhale 35% carbon dioxide through a mask. The thing with carbon dioxide is that even at non-lethal levels, it can trigger a feeling of suffocation within the body as a virtue of increased acidity in the blood. Researchers wanted to figure out if this trigger from their own body can induce fear or panic in patient SM and others. And to the surprise of the researchers, fear had arrived. For the first time in her life, SM experienced the dreaded fear like the rest of us. This experiment was then conducted on other people with a non-functioning amygdala, and similar results were observed. But here's the catch. When this experiment was conducted on people with a regularly functioning amygdala, it turned out that the amygdala functioned exactly the opposite as it was supposed to. Now, this is a landmark point in the study of the brain and how it responds to fear. For years, scientists just thought that the amygdala was only responsible for inducing this fear. Rather now, it's controlling it, it's curbing it. And all because of the fact that the people with a regular functioning amygdala knew that they were in a controlled, safe environment. What if we took away that environment? What if we took away that safety? So there you have it, a fear that will spare no one. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.